So maybe what we'll do is that we'll pass the mic around, and then what we'll do is that you can say your name. If you know your clans, you can say that. If you don't know, it's okay. And maybe one word in Māori. Any word. And it's okay, because my Māori is broken too, guys. It's really, really bad. And so we're not judging. I can't say that many words. And so we'll start with you. So your name, your clan, if you know, and one word in Māori. And actually, since I'm going to do nutrition, your favorite food, like Māori food as well. Your favorite Māori food.
Why does it have to be me? Right here. Hey guys, my name is Faith. My home name is Ada. What's my favorite food? I love arungaro, marangba. I also love oshobi. Also love njiki. What else? What's the other one? One word in Māori. This is actually two, but I'll just say it. Mapelere.
And what does that mean for those who don't know?
What does mapelere mean? Anyone? What does mapelere mean? Yeah, beautiful.
So just your name, clans if you know. So like, you know how you have your tribe, your Māori, but your parents are like two clans that they're made of. So it could be like Pajonze, Pagani, or whatever. If you don't know, it's fine. You can say your favorite food in Māori. Do you have any Māori food? Favorite Māori food? It's okay, you can say your favorite food, any favorite food.
My name is Florence, and I guess my favorite food is the lavia.
And your word in Māori? What's your one word in Māori?
Igoni.
Do we have to say one word? Yes, please. Don't worry, we're all really bad, so it's okay. No one's gonna judge you first. Yes.
My name is Daisy. My favorite food probably has to be my mom's food. What type? Any, basically. Yeah. She took mine. Ngongoi.
So your name, your clans, if you know them.
My name is Lena. My favorite food, it's like this mullah that my mom makes, but I don't know what it's called.
Okay,
And
Mula.
Your clan, if you know. Okay.
Do you know your clans? No, that's okay. One word in Māori.
Ingwaniku.
Oh, there we go. Thank you. Okay, the rule. No one can repeat that word anymore. The word is out. So find a new word. That's okay.
Hello everyone, good morning. My name is Jessica Youngwa. I'm not Māori,
That's okay.
but I married one of you guys, so
Yeah.
I'm glad to be here. My husband's from mom's side, she's Bageri,
Okay.
and then from dad's side, he's Alu.
Oh, okay.
My word? Is it the
Yeah,
word?
Māori word. One Māori word.
My word is like Manyale. Malenyira.
Malanyira. Ah, that's a good one. So maybe can we go this way a little? Because I feel like we heard a little bit more from the girls. We'll come back. We're going to go to the boys. Remember, we can't use the other Māori words. All right, so name your clans if you know, your favorite food, Māori food, and then your one word in Māori.
My name's Fraser. Don't know about the clan name. Favorite food, just be mala in general. Besides Ngongoi, there's nothing else. That's it.
Okay, this is the goal, to learn another Māori word. So you're coming to a conference, you're picking up another Māori word.
Hello, my name is Abraham, and my
What's your favorite food?
food is rice with chicken honey.
Wait, do you have any Māori word? Do you know any word in Māori? Just say it. It's okay.
Don't know.
You don't know? That's okay. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Maggie. I don't really have favorite food, and I don't know any words in Māori.
Okay. Do you know your clans?
No.
Okay, that's all right. Thank you. Boys. So your name, your clans, if you know, favorite food, Māori food, and then one word in Māori, please.
My name's James. What's it, clan?
Yeah,
No, I'm not sure about the clan.
that's okay.
Food.
Yeah?
Favorite food is mandazi.
Okay.
And then one word in
Māori?
Māori.
Yeah.
Uh,
And you can use money.
Marobi. Marobi, is that?
Nairobi?
Something like that. Something like that.
Something like that?
Something like that.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Fair.
My name is Nidriani. Yeah, I'm not sure about.
That's okay. Favorite food? Any food.
Favorite food. I'd say Janjaru.
Sorry?
Janjaru.
Okay. Dodo?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Word.
One word in Māori. Anything. Any word.
I know someone already said this, but Ngongoi.
Oh boy. Well, thank you for saying that.
My name's Noel.
Clans, do you know that?
Alu.
Okay.
My favorite food, Ngongoi. And I don't have a favorite Māori word.
It doesn't have to be a favorite. Any Māori word you know. So it's not your favorite Māori word, any.
I don't really have one top of my mind.
Okay, that's all right.
My name is Maxwell.
I
I don't know my clan.
Favorite food?
I don't know the name of it.
Okay, but you know, what do you know the food, but you don't know what it's
Yeah,
called?
I know yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Ngoni.
Oh, okay. All right, guys, that's a lot of Ingoni.
Hello, my name is Moses. My favorite food is fasulia.
Okay.
Yep. And what I can say, maruadi.
Ah, that's a good one.
Yep.
Okay.
And my clan, I don't know.
That's okay. Another goal for us to find out what our clans is, because a lot of you don't know. It's important to know.
Hello, my name is Silla. My favorite food is fasulia and Māori word anzo.
Okay.
My name is Isaac. Favorite food, fasulia. I think my clan is Arabi. I think it's that.
Okay.
And I don't have a word.
Okay. So your name, favorite food, Māori food, clans if you know, and one word in Māori.
My name is Amboyo or Godwill. Food, I don't know.
That's okay. One word in Māori.
Mopira.
Ah, that's a good one.
My name is Maria. I don't really have a favorite food.
Close.
My word is Owira.
Owira, yeah.
Sorry, I just can't.
Hello.
Hi.
My name is Kadei Joyce. I learned Māori like any of you guys who are in the room today. I've heard a lot that I don't have Māori word, but I'm sure we are learning now. I'm a Kuku by tribe, married to Māori. I call Patibi my uncles mom is from Patibi clan. The kid's dad is from Pavura clan. My favorite food in Madi is osobi.
And one word in Madi?
I thought osobi is in Madi.
Yeah, but like, pick another word.
Iza, which is meat.
Okay, thank you. No, that's fine.
Hello, my name is George. I'm from South Australia. My clan is Lolubo, Manjora. My
Manjora?
favorite food is luge.
Okay.
Hello, my name is Jackie. My Madi name is Mexico. Bende ni okay. Mata ni mugi. So mamugi ni sangwa. My favorite food. Nzeke is a policy.
Oh, mine. That's mine too. That's it. That's all. Yeah. Yeah, that's okay. What about you guys?
My name is Angela, and my favorite Madi food is mula kombo, and the word is linya.
My name is Fairies, and our tribe is Paloi, and a Madi word is Manjora.
Hello, my name is Rose Ojaba. I'm from WA. My tribe is Paloi, which is my dad, and my mom is Urugu. And I love, my favorite food is luge. Thank you, Manjora.
I don't want a photo. I don't want a photo. Thank you. Hi, my name is Lily, and my Madi name is Sissy. Spell with S. Don't spell it with C, because it's not going to make sense. So my dad is okay, and my mother is... My mother is Gonyapi, so I am okay woman. And yeah, my favorite food is Judy as well. I heard somebody say that before. Yeah, and one word in Madi, Meli, that means summer.
Thank you. Maddie, you want to go? That's okay.
My name is Max. My favorite Madi food is osobi. And Madi word is eyi.
And what is it? Yeah.
Water.
My name's Nevdi, and my Madi name is Anjawa. And my favorite Madi food is jiri jiri. And
one word in Madi.
Karibu.
Okay.
My name is Lado. My favorite Madi food is mulakau, and I don't really know any other Madi words.
That's okay. We'll learn some this weekend.
Hello, Maru Engane. Linha Marítima Lendori Jacalera. Di Uleku de. Rare tamam linha se. Lejo what about the Mariti Sirimala Majo Lajurokaka. Slingshot. Lajurokaka.
So that's a new one for me too, guys.
Hi guys, my name's Nora. My favorite food is kiata with molakwan. And
One word in.
one word in Madi, Anja.
Hi guys, my name is Scovia. My favorite Madi food is polo. One word in Madi, lejo.
Hi everyone, my name is Justin Malesh from Tasmania, Hobart.
Yeah.
My clan is Pomato. My favorite Madi food is molokonyi, which is cow food. The legs. One word in Madi, Anjo.
Anjo, thank you.
Manjo pose. Maruju swin gira Mainton di lumule gare. Maditi se tamale lendore longo. Matango yayadu. Matango yayadu. Male onku history nze kanza. Manzora. Yauta onyama lelendo mat yasa tidu sibonzini re. Nyesu yasa zigama madi lendupe. Kiata se. Yaule donya madi baruna re jonyi zangwa nyi durura kole nyi ni mendupe di kote kiata se. Ile de onya madi di. Manzo pose.
Thank you.
Mazenye kuchela ka maruni abuchai. Ngwata suru de ate ngwa pamerigo. And ma onya malendor ni duke. One word maritis ini mazenye kuchi.
Thank you. Do you want to go? No. All right. Well, thank you guys so much. And the reason, I think this is really important, right? Huh. Oh, sorry, guys.
Anjo posi mata joma diti si. Anyari ra lakini bonzuzi ko zio dosi. Matui umlaingo ni sako jolila. Ole gangwa dosa nyini bonzuzi le dia kama diti jo lakini ole kia idete kama dini ko. Diado ma madizi maru madi bonzi to chiri to nira maru letio. Cesarina ni na bana ojo sadendo. O manjo posi anya tadule desi. Mai madimani taidele ma madila didi. Asan madima bonji kuchi bonji ago. Njonji arua yekurene riso. O ma tadi. Lakini sama tadi ya di mungwero biasi sawa. Eriti kumuni abizi sodani ngore kwichi ongolongo mangwawa ma disirisa mangwawa ma tuawa mama di ungola tudi de mala majanyi madi ni am a dancer the boys the girls I'm cougar I'm a dancer. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm very impressed. I'm very happy to see our kids, youth, are participating. First of all, I'd like to tell you, my favorite food is fuli. That is peanuts. I like it very much. Generally, the Madi favorite foods are smoked fish, the fish that you can dry. And another one is smoked meat. They will dry it. That drying, it is served preservation. And another thing, that also they can just grind it and make it a bit softer. It's called lendikbe. That is, can differentiate Madi from other tribes. And another thing can differentiate Madi from other tribes is the preservation of sweet potatoes, called motere. They can eat that one. It will last a bit longer. They can eat that one during the time when potato is not there now. So it is the one which, if you say muterere in Juba, oh, don't know, that's the food for Mali people. It is very important to know our type of food, that we love it so much. And I'm very happy for your participation, guys. One time will come, you will go back home, you'll find out all those things people are doing it, and you will like it. Thank you.
Thanks. Did you want to?
Hi everyone, my name is Simon. Tamalale madisin dore lenya manyale dore aruta njiki. Yes. You asked what clan. Actually, don't want to make any mistake. I couldn't remember my clan, so I'll leave it there.
Okay. I was gonna say this is really important, and I want to tell you guys a story. So I work with kids, and there's these two twins, right? The mom is Chinese and the dad is like British, and they don't look anything Asian, but they speak fluent Mandarin. And so we're sitting at lunch table, and you have a bunch of kids who look Asian, and you have these two kids who look nothing. Like they have, like when you look at them, they look white. But they were sitting with the kids who look Asian, and they were speaking in Mandarin fluently. And from that, I realized your identity is one of the most important things. Your heritage is so important. And I know that, like, you know, we're born here, and so that means that we're learning so many things at school, we spend a lot of time with our friends, but let's not forget who we are, because who you are is almost a light that guides you and that reminds you of who you are, because they will ask you where you're from, whether you like it or not. They'll ask you what your tribe, whether you like it or not. They'll ask you what language you speak, or can you say a word in your language. These are really important to who you are, and they're important to who I am. And so let's embrace our heritage. So let's remember our heritage, because it is really, really important. And it is really important to, when you do grow up, when you do have kids, they're going to have to know these things. Because if they don't know, they're going to get lost. And people will tell them who they are. And when people tell you who they are, they can tell you anything. And you don't want that. You want to know who you are because your parents told you who you are, because you have learned who you are. And so therefore, when someone tells you something that is not right, and they give you an identity that's not your identity, you're able to say, no, that's actually not what I am. This is who I am. And you're able to stand strong and tall and resilient in front of people. Yeah? So it is really, really important. The fact that we come here, it's really important that we continue to come together, we continue to learn things with one another, and particularly our language, our food, we continue to keep these things because they are who you are. And you need to know who you are. Even if you're going to be other things, you can be who you are, and you can embrace all the other things as well. So, yeah.
Thank you so much, Holla. That was lovely. There you go. Thank you for that, opening us up. I saw the microphone going around a lot, so I hope we continue to have that type of participation today. So I'd like to welcome us again to day 2 of the conference. My name is Gunea, if you didn't catch it, and this is Achan. Yep. First of all, we would love to begin the day with a little prayer. So could we welcome up Will?
Yep. And while Will is coming up, we just want to, thank you all for coming for day 2. And this is a youth-focused day, so a lot of English speaking, like Māori, we appreciate the Māori speaking, but I just want to make sure that we all can understand what is being said. And yeah, so if you're going to have the mic, please try speak in English, or if you're going to speak Māori, if someone can translate it. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you for the opportunity. Like she mentioned, my name is Will Maru Willi, or Iligo Maritisi. Manzora, for all the people that is gathered here today. So if I can just have everyone's attention and just bow as we enter a quick prayer. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this opportunity We thank you for your love, for your mercy, for your guidance. We thank you for everyone who has gathered here today to come attend this conference. My God, we pray for those who are on their way. We ask that you guide them here peacefully and safely, and that may they remain safe, and may they be covered by your blood, and may you protect them through this service. My God, we pray for everyone that is gathered here today, every single individual, those in the kitchen, those who are attendants in the crowd, our leaders, our presenters, our DJ. We put everything from the presentations to the workshops in your hands, and we ask you to guide us through this whole service. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Will. Now, again, we are running a little bit late, a little bit behind, so I'd like to thank everybody for their patience. But to start us off, I would like to call up Holla. As we do so, let me just introduce a little bit about her. Holla is an experienced educator specializing in legal education, and she's currently focuses on childhood development, health, and well-being. As the founder of Holla Wellness, she is dedicated to promoting optimal health through natural pathways with a background as a health business owner and early childhood educator. Holla offers a unique perspective shaped by her 1.5 years of experience in natural health centers and her studies in biochemistry, food chemistry, and early childhood development. Wow. She is passionate about sharing her insights on the connection between nutrition, mental wellness, emphasizing its importance for both individuals and children, including those yet to be born. So could we all welcome Holla to the stage, please?
I feel like I've spoken so much already. So what we're going to do is that I'm going to get you guys to do some quiz just quickly, and it's called the stress quiz. So this is to sort of gauge what is your stress level, because this is important. Yeah, so I'm going to be quiet and you guys are going to take a moment. Maybe I will read them out because you can't see them. So if you could go all the way. Yeah, just back. So you have your pen and your paper. So I'm going to read some symptoms of stress, and you can number them. And so if, for example, let's say if the month of December or November, you had more time, you were lying awake at night, worrying about work, or waking up with disturbing dreams, then what you're going to do is that if that happens regularly throughout the month, during November, or it does happen regularly, then you put 3, you score yourself 3. And if it happens sometimes, you put 2. And if it doesn't happen to you, or it happens rarely, you put 1. Does that make sense? So, for example, so if you overreact to minor problems with anger, anxiety, hurt feelings, or you cry a lot, if that happens a lot, then you put 3 for yourself. And then if it happens sometimes, you put 2. And if it doesn't happen or it happens rarely, you put 1. Yeah, so we ready? And you can just number them and you score yourself. And what we're going to do is that we're going to add them up. And eventually, you should be able to find out whether you are highly stressed or you're unstressed or you're mildly stressed. Yeah? So the first one, so if for 1, do you spend nights worrying, lying awake, worrying about work or school or about your friendships? And do you wake up with disturbing dreams? Does that ever happen to you? Does that happen to you regularly? Or does that happen to you sometimes? Or does that happen to you rarely? So 3, if it does happen regularly, sometime 2, and then if rarely, you put 1. And let me know if you're done. Have we given ourselves scores? Yeah? All right, for the second one, if you react to minor problems with anger, anxiety, hurt feeling, or you cry a lot sometimes, if this happens regularly, you put yourself 3. If it happens sometimes, you put 2. And if it happens rarely, you put 1. Guys, give yourself scores. I don't see any writing happening. So for the third one, if you are overeating or you're not eating, then if this happens a lot, then you give yourself 3, 4 if it happens regularly. And if it happens sometimes, you put 2 and 1 for rarely. So do you have increase in appetite or do you have decrease in appetite? How's your eating habit? You guys are a little too young for this one, but do you have increased use of, let's say, maybe alcohol, tobacco, or coffee, tea, energy drinks? So if you drink a lot of this stuff, then if you do it regularly, you put 3. If sometime, 2, rarely 1. Sorry? Then you give yourself, let's say, just put 0 then. It's social media? Then you can still, yeah. Do you have a long period of boredom? Are you bored a lot? So if you're bored all the time, you give yourself 3. Or if sometimes you get bored, you give yourself 2. And then if you get bored rarely, you're always sort of entertained, then you give yourself 1. And for the next one, if you are unable to let go of tension easily, so if you are an overthinker, or you have difficulty relaxing, or even like having quiet moments, or you find that there is not time to relax, so you're always on the go. If this happens often, you give yourself 3, if sometimes 2, and if it rarely 1. And if it doesn't happen at all, you can give yourself 0. And if you have, there is a decline in like performance in terms of if you play sport, you find that you're not playing as well. Or if you are studying, you find that you're not doing well at school. Or if you are working, you find that you're not doing a good job at work. If this happens a lot or regularly, you give yourself 3. And if it happens sometimes, you give yourself 2 or 1 or 0. If you have difficulty setting priorities, or if you have difficulty prioritizing or making decisions or making plans and sticking to them, if this happens regularly, you give yourself 3 or 2 for some time, rarely for 1. Or even your studies, you find it easy to focus when you're studying. When you make plans that I'm going to go home and study, do you find it easy to follow? Do you stick to them? Or do you not? Do you like blow them out? And you'd rather be doing other things. If you have increase, so if you get a lot of headache and you have like stomach problems, let's say, if you have like your neck or your back is aching, if you have breathing problems, or like muscle problems, or you have skin problems. So if this happens regularly, you just put yourself 3, 2, 1 for rarely. And if you feel anxious for unknown reasons, so you feel anxious or nervous about something, or you wake up sort of panicking, and you don't know what the reason is, if this happens to you regularly, you give yourself 3, and if sometimes 2 and 1 for rarely. So if you need a great personal support, so let's say you need your friends more, you need your families more to support you, or if you need to seek counseling and any of these things, and you find that people are not willing to give this to you or are unable to give this to you, if you experience that regularly, like if you need to talk to someone regularly about your problems or just seek advice or any of that things, then you give yourself, if it happens regularly, you put yourself 3, 2, or 1. And then for the last one, if you feel like you are being rushed, so you're constantly rushing, you're constantly feeling like there's not enough time to get everything done. If this happens to you all the time, or regularly, you give yourself 3, or 2 for sometimes, and 1 for rarely. So now, if you have a phone, add it up and see what your total is. Sorry? 12? Yeah, that should be 12. Did you guys miss some? I skipped one. I skipped one from there. So if you're looking at that, I skipped one because I know it's not applicable to you guys because you're a little bit younger. All right, have we add them up? Do you know what your score is? We got them? All right, great. All right, so if you got 1 to 15, it means you are pretty unstressed, right? It means that there is not much stress in your life, which is a good thing, or that you have a very good way of dealing with stress. Yeah? If you have 26 to 35 roughly, then it means that you experience a high level of stress, and it also means that you might actually need to find other ways of dealing with that stress. So that's really important because if you know that you do experience a high level of stress, there needs to be things in place, or else we all know that stress tends to turn into anxiety, and anxiety tends to turn into depression, right? And these things are basically your body's response to all the demands around you. So when life gets a little busy, when life gets a little harder, you don't have the resources and you don't have the mental capacity to deal with life. And so your body, in its way of protecting you, is basically by anxiety or being depressed. So what it does is it locks you down so that you may heal. And so I know that we have a really bad rap with like stress, anxiety, and depression because mental health is not something that we discuss in our community, or particularly when, back home, it's not something that we know about, right? It's either you're crazy or you're perfectly fine, like there's nothing wrong with you. And so we have extreme. But because we are living in Australia, we do experience these things. And so therefore we cannot ignore them. And stress and anxiety and depression, they are basically telling you that your body is telling you you do not have enough resources to be able to handle all the demands that's been thrown at you. Right? So you have school, you have work, you have friends, you have family problems, you're thinking about your future, you're thinking about, maybe you have a relationship. All of these things are a lot of demands, or even like paying bills, or like playing games with your friend, or going to parties or whatever, and your mom might not let you go. Those are like little stresses that could easily weigh down on you. And if you don't have things in place to deal with them, unfortunately, they could lead into anxiety and depression. Yeah. Keep going next. All right, so do we know which body system controls our mental health and well-being? Do we know? Anyone? Sorry?
The nervous system?
The nervous system, that's correct. But what is the nerve, like what part of the body makes up the nervous system?
Like the brain?
And
your neurons and nerves.
And so you have an option here. So you have your digestive system, you have your brains and your nerves, you have your brain, spinal cord, your nerves, and all of the above.
Oh yeah, your spinal. Oh, all of them, right?
All of them,
right?
Oh. Is that a question?
I feel like they all work together.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll say all of them. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, like I think you're right in that because technically your digestive system or your gut is considered like your second brain, so it does make sense. But however, your nervous system is made out of your brain, your spinal cord, and your nerves, right? So your brain, spinal cord, and then all the nerves all over your body. That's what makes your nervous system. And the nervous system is sort of split into two. And so you have your central nervous system, which is basically your brain and your spinal cord. And then you have your nerves, which is your peripheral nervous system. And the point of the nerves or the neurons in your body, it's basically everywhere. Think about it as Wi-Fi, right? And when you send a message, you don't see it, but it's kind of like working. And when you send a message, someone receives it quickly, and it happens quickly, and there's not disturbance or anything. And sometimes it's so quick that people respond really quickly, right? And this is why we have anxiety, because when someone takes a little longer, they're like, what's happening? But that's basically it. Your nerves is like that. It communicates, it sends information back and forth to let you know or to sort of give information to your body. So that way, let's say if you touch something hot, then your body sort of sends a message like it's hot, so you move your hand. Or if you need to, like, let's say, cough, or you need to do anything, basically any movement, the moment you get off your bed, it's like your brain already knows. Your nerves tells your body using your senses, right? And so your nerves are really, really important. And so that's what it is. I was going to tell you guys this story, but it's a little creepy, and you guys are a little young, so I won't tell you guys. But, so the next question is, does your daily food choices impact your nervous system, do we think? Yes. Yeah? Yes, that's right. Does anyone know how or why? How does it work?
I might stand up so I can give someone the microphone, so you can just stay there.
And this is a conversation because I think it's important that we know. If we know that it does, how, why, it's all important.
Does anyone have a possible answer?
Oh, there's there.
Actually, I'm not perfect, but I can just give a bit of suggestion.
It's okay, yeah.
Yeah. Based on what I understand is there's some other food when you've taken it in, it requires a lot of your blood, to ingest it. So it takes most of your brain to do the work for the food to break down. So some of those food can have impact on your water and nerve systems.
Yeah. Anyone else? We got there. Stimulants. Yeah, that's right. Is your hands up? Anyone else? You can take a guess. Like, there's no right or wrong. Let's talk about it. So you all said yes. Why did you say yes? Anyone?
Start picking on people?
Should I pick on people? Yeah. I don't want to pick on anyone because I feel bad. Okay, so there's many reasons as to why your daily choices, and I think for a lot of the time, so before then, they didn't have proof as to how food impacts your mind or impacts your emotions, particularly stress and anxiety and depression. And they have done a lot of studies now. There is a correlation, right? Your nerves. So the food you eat, a lot of time when particularly you choose unhealthy food, it tends to damage your brain. Right? Because your brain needs certain vitamins, it needs certain nutrition. And just like a car, let's say, expensive car, yeah? Or for girls, I don't know, maybe expensive handbag or whatever it is. You won't put anything into it because it is expensive, you spend a lot of money in it, you take care of it, right? And with cars as well, you have an expensive car, the car you want, you just don't put any fuel, right? You put the right fuels. And if you don't put the right fuels, then it breaks down. And that's the same thing with your body, the same thing with your brain. And if you're not feeding it the right thing, Firstly, you can't expect to learn new things. And this is really important because I know that you guys, maybe you might be in school. So what you eat determines your ability to learn new things. I know that sometimes you might think that you're not smart enough. Perhaps it's not that you're not smart enough. It's the fact that you're not eating the right thing to give your brain the energy to learn new things. Yeah? Because your brain, it can be molded. It's neuron. So what happens is that when you learn new things, you keep learning new things, you end up being good at them. Because it takes things up, it soaks things up, and you're creating neural pathways in your brain, and so that allows you to do new things or to learn new things. You're going to have a memory problem, or even your ability to make decisions or make plans and stick to them. If you're not eating the right food, it damages that. Yeah, and also because with your digestive system, it is considered your second brain. Because of the nerves, they have conversations sort of with each other. It sends a message to your brain. And so if you're eating, let's say, refined sugar, you're eating lots of macas and chicken nuggets. I did them when I was in high school because I liked them. They taste nice. They are good. They are, convenient. But what they do is actually, they tend to irritate your gut. They tend to irritate your gut. And so if your gut is irritated, then emotionally, you are also irritated, right? And so if your gut is irritated, then what happens is also that you are moody, you feel more anxious, you feel more stressed, because what happens is that when you eat unhealthy food, the stress hormones are released in your blood, or released in your body. And if you have the stress hormones released, that means that your body is gearing up to basically fight or run to save you. And if that's happening, what's happening is that your brain is so focused that your memory goes out, your immune system goes out, your nerves sort of, if that keep happening, basically, you end up becoming really damaged. Yeah? And so, so just some food. So I guess what I really want to say is this, right? What you put on your plate is as important as anything else, right? If you're not eating the right food, no matter how well you're exercising, no matter how well you're sleeping, then those things they can work, but they needs to be, like, what you eat is really, really important. And I think sometimes you eat because, when you're hungry, it's convenient or it tastes good. A lot of the time when we choose food, it's because it's something that we are craving, right? And sometimes you're craving those things because your body needs sugar, it needs certain nutrients, whatever, or because of culture, or because what it is available to you, but it doesn't mean that it is good for you. So therefore, it is really important that we choose food that we know that are good for us. And so some of the things that your nervous system actually needs are the B vitamins. So there are 11 B vitamins. I won't name them all. But some of the foods that you can eat to support you with this, particularly if you do want to deal with stress, you want to deal with anxiety and depression, is that if, sesame seeds, sunflower, nutrition yeast, bananas, oats, kale, and all of that other stuff. I probably won't just read them because I think that's that. But one thing that I want to say is that our traditional food, like the Muddy diet, a study hasn't been done about it, but they found that traditional food that's made out of vegetables and your grains and your roots and all of that, those are really important for you, yeah? And they find that you have 30% less chance of experiencing depression compared to the Western style of food. So macas or like any of the food that we eat on a daily, and those are in the supermarket, if you eat those on a regular basis, you have more chance of actually getting anxiety and a depression than if you are eating what your mom cooks. And the reason for that is because your body needs all the nutrition. And a lot of our diet is made out of grains, and those are really, really important because you need them. And your body needs all the nutrition that are in grains. And a lot of the time, the food that comes in a package, what happens is that they don't have any nutrition values. They taste good, they're fortified with nutrition, but they're not what your body needs because they remove the nutrition to be able to be packed, and they add a nutrition to it, so that way it has some sort of value when you eat them, but they're not good for you. Yeah? And so it is really important. And I'm not saying don't eat them. I'm saying eat them in proportion. But mostly what your mom cook is actually more beneficial to you if you feel stressed, if you are a little anxious, if you are a little, you feel like you might you're leaning into a little bit of depression as well, because it's much more nutritious than it is all the other food. And so including a lot of fruits, veggies in your diet is really, really important, because we need them, your body needs them, just like an expensive car needs the right fuels. And some food that overtax and damages your nervous system. And I know that we talk about this all the time, like we have a coffee culture in Australia. Like everyone before work, you get a coffee. After break, you get a coffee. We drink coffee. We also drink teas or maybe soft drinks, alcohol, like tobacco, or maybe even hot chocolate. We have a culture of consuming these things, and because they're readily available. But what these things actually do is because they have caffeine, particularly coffee, cocoa, tea, they have caffeine. And what caffeine actually does is that because it sort of gears your body to do what it needs to do really fast, and then it slams it. And that's unhealthy for you because you don't want that. Your body needs to release a slow glucose, and so that way you're able to get what you need to work with, but it also maintains some for later, rather than using it all and then now you're just tired and you can't do anything, you can't focus. And so coffee is actually really damaging. It damages your nerves as well. And so as coffee, soft drinks, way too much sugar as well. And so what they do is that, again, with the glucose, it's way too much, too quickly, and it ends up damaging your body. So other factors that really help with stress, so if you have a high level of stress, so some of the things that, actually these are the things that you need, right? For your body, just like a car, you need certain things in order to maintain it, right? And so to be able to function, you need to get enough sunshine. And particularly we do have dark skin, this is really important. You need sunlight. Because where we were living, we had more sun, and so therefore you don't have to worry about vitamin Ds. But you need vitamin Ds, and vitamin D is actually called the happy sort of vitamin. It's because vitamin D actually really plays with your emotions as well. So if you don't have vitamin D, it could also lead into anxiety and depression. And I think a lot of us might suffer from that. When during winter, it's just everyone's a little moody. It's because a lot of us are low on vitamin D. And so make sure we're taking care of that, because vitamin D also sort of controls your bones as well. It's really important for your bones. And so therefore, if you want stronger bones, then you need your vitamin D to be right. Fresh air. So important. So you need oxygen in order for your blood is your lifeline, right? And so if your blood is not flowing properly, if it's not being cleansed, that is through fresh air, then what happens is that your brain is sort of suffocating. When people become unconscious, the reason why you give them CPR. The reason why you give CPR is to keep the air flowing, right? And that's to keep their body operating. And so that's the same thing. If you don't get enough fresh air, then it actually kills the cells in your brain. And so if you are sleeping or the windows are not open, if you're in a place where there's no flow of fresh air, there's way too many carbon dioxide. And so that means you're not getting enough oxygen. And if you're not getting enough oxygen, your brain is not going to work right. And you need new cells to be, regenerated in order for you to learn to think, memories, and all this other stuff. And so therefore, it is really important to get fresh air. Exercise as well. You need to exercise because your body needs to be moving. Your body is built to move, and that's why we do a lot of physical activities. Like back home, our parents perhaps didn't need exercise because a lot of the work is physical, but here, because you are sitting still majority of the time, your school, sitting down, you need to exercise, because if you don't exercise, again, blood is not flowing properly, or you are not basically moving your body, and if you're not moving your body, then your body is sort of decaying. Proper rest. How many of you, how long do we sleep for? Roughly. How long do you sleep for? 4 hours, 6, 3 hours, maybe a night. What is it? 4 hours? Anyone else? 8 hours, that's a good one. Anyone else? Six hours to 7 hours. And how long should we be sleeping for? 8 hours? Yeah? Well, 8 hours, and I think apparently females need more than 8 hours because, you know, but sleep is really, really important. It's one thing that I cannot stress enough. Sleep is so, so important because what happens is if you're not sleeping, all the fun things that you've learned today, the neural pathway is not being formed in your brain. So when you wake up tomorrow, you're not going to remember it. So if you're learning, you're studying, you need to sleep. So it's really important for memory. So if you're sleeping 6 hours, probably not good enough. If you're sleeping 4 hours, that's not good enough because sleep is really, really important for your body. It's basically when your body is healing from everything and a waste is sort of being taken out. And if you're not doing that, if you're not shutting your body down, you have already been sort of doing a lot of things and your body doesn't have time to repair. And if your body is not repairing, then it means that when you are stressed, you end up responding in a way that you can't handle, right? Which could lead into anxiety and depression and all the other terrible things that other disorders like mental disorders as well, which is really dangerous and we don't want to be there. So if I can give you guys one advice, sleep. Take a sleep. It's better and you feel better and you remember more, your memory works better and you learn better, you think better, you are a better person because you have enough sleep because your body needs it. Lots of water. Do you guys like to drink water? Yeah? How much water do you guys drink? 1 liter, maybe 1 cup per day, or maybe we prefer soft drinks than water. Water is really, really important. It helps your blood. It cleanses your blood. So if you're not drinking your water, if there's anything you're going to drink water. Don't replace it with soft drinks, yeah? Water is really, really important because it washes all things out. All the toxin in your body, it washes out. And that's why we drink a lot of water. Because if you're not drinking water out, it's like your body is not taking the waste out, yeah? And if your body is not taking all the waste out, then where is that waste going? It's staying in your body. And if it's staying in your body, then it's doing damage. And if it's doing damage, it means you're setting yourself up for a lot of illnesses when you get older. Yeah? So it is really important that we drink. We make sure our blood is clean because of that. So this is a really important as well. Healthy and trusting relationship with God, families, and friends. These are resources. Right? Your ability to cope with stress, anxiety, and depression is dependent on also your relationship with the people around you. But the thing is, you actually can't have a healthy and trusting relationship if you don't have a good nervous system. And if you can't have a good nervous system if you are not eating right, if you are not getting enough sunshine, if you're not getting enough exercise, you're not getting enough rest. So they all sort of depend on each other, right? There is this parable where to those who have, more will be given, and to those who don't have, even the little that they have will be taken away from them, right? And this is basically this, because if you do one thing, it contributes and it adds more and you're much more healthier. But if you don't do anything, then even the little health that you have, it will be taken away from you. And so it is really, really important that if you want a healthy relationship, because what happens is if you're stressed out, you're irritable, you're annoyed, like you get angry at everything and everything bothers you and everything is a problem to you and no one can tell you anything because you don't want anyone to tell you anything because you know you're not feeling great, you're not able to accept feedbacks, then you can't have a healthy relationship, yeah? And so it's really important if you want a healthy and trusting relationship that you have a healthy nervous system as well. But your relationship, particularly with God, families, and friends, there are resources that you need for your health. So if you're going through anxiety, but if you have friends who love you and you know that you have people that you can go to, you have people that you can hang out with, you don't even have to say a word, then you feel better, yeah? Sometimes you don't even have to say a word, they just have to be there because you know each other and because you know they love you, that's good enough. If you're depressed and you have a friend who comes and sit with you and you know that they love you and you can trust them with that emotion, then you know it's okay. And that tends to get you out of depression, that tends to get you out of anxiety, or even helps you, sort of calms you down, particularly when you're stressed, it relaxes you, yeah? And so that's really, really important. I was going to talk about a little bit about family. So your family kind of influences what you eat a lot. A lot of the choices that we make are choices that our parents have made for us when it comes to our diet. And so now, because as you get older, you're going to have to learn new things and you're going to have to change your ways if it doesn't work. And so what happened is that sometimes when you look at your parents, you can look at what kind of health problem they have, and it can kind of tell you, if you eat the same food as them, then what kind of health you will have as well. They're an indicator of your future, right? And so if your parents are really, really healthy, you know you should be eating like them. Because if you don't, or if let's say you're eating obviously we can also see, right? In the Western world, we have obesity problems, we have all these things, we have diabetes, and we have strokes and all this other stuff as well. And a lot of that could also be contributed from our diet. And so therefore we can see this is happening because of the diet, because of everything. And so therefore if we want that, then we eat like that. But if we want what our parents have, then we eat like our parents. So that's a really good one. But also, I think you guys are young for this, but a lot of your eggs, or let's say your sperms, the health of them are dependent on what you eat. So if you want healthy children, then you gotta eat healthy. Because if you don't eat healthy, then your children are inheriting, let's say the mental issues or whatever you got through genetics, you are passing it on to them. And so your ability to raise or your ability to actually give birth to healthy children is also dependent on the choices that you make today, particularly when you're young. Because habits are not born in one day, they are something that you develop over time. So if you do want healthy children in the future, so you gotta have to start now. It takes a long time to develop healthy habits, a really long time. And so you gotta have to take this step when you are young, and so that when you get older, you're not learning them, but rather you are practicing them, and so therefore you can also teach them to your children as well. So that's all for me today. Does anyone have any question for me?
Thanks, Holla, for the beautiful and wonderful presentation. It's so nice of what you have spoken. I may ask if you can tell us a little bit about that nutrition of our traditional food. Which ones should we really consider so that we keep being healthy? We have to also be maramba and so on. So can you just elaborate for us on that one, please? Thank you.
All right, so with this one, I heard this saying that treat every information you receive like a watermelon, right? So spit out the seeds if you don't like them, and then you can eat what you like. So this is not for everyone, but I think to your question, what I would say is this. I think, like someone said about drying meat, dry fish, they are a form of a healthy diet. So we eat here meat every single day. It makes up every meal, almost. And I think that's a little dangerous because what happened is that they do have nutrition, but they don't have the nutritions that your brain actually need. And this is why they say eat grains, eat your leafy greens, right? You eat the things that come from the ground because those are the things that have the nutrition, the minerals that your actually brain needs, your body needs. And we eat a lot of like green stuff. And when I think back home, what they do is you eat meat maybe once a week or maybe twice a week, or you don't eat it every single day. And there's nothing, I'm not saying that there is something wrong with it. I'm saying that there needs to be a balance. It can't be something that you eat every single day. Because if there is, and I think this is the research, right? Mediterranean diet is preferred. And the reason why it's preferred, and I think African diet is also preferred. And the reason why it's preferred is because there is less dairy and there is less meat. And there's more of greens, there's more of like potatoes, there's more of grains, there's more of cereals, there's more of all of those things, right? Because those are the things that are really important. Those are the things that your body needs to able to get the feel that it needs without damaging it. But the thing is, because meat, we have it available, you can buy it, it's the only thing, and like it's not the only thing, but it's what we know, and it's easy, it's convenient. But our traditional food is, I think all of them, I would say, even the way that we cook it, is probably one of the most healthiest diet. And if we can eat like our ancestors, I would think that we'll live a very long life, even in Australia. And I think a lot of people from other cultures, they don't really forget about their food. It's an important part of them. They sort of balance it out. And I think if we can also have that balance of like, having traditional food but also adding in the other good stuff, it will really, really benefit us. And it means that we have 35% less chance of having mental problems or mental disorders as well. So, which is really good. I mean, for me personally, I'll take that any day because if I have less chance of experiencing depression, I'm gonna take it because I wanna be mentally healthy. So, yeah, any other question?
Thank you for that wonderful presentation. Just what I wanted to know is in terms of the greens, vegetables, we know that some of them are grown naturally. You know, you go to the shops, they talk about organic food, and then the non-organic. So what is the impact on health between those organic and non-organic?
So definitely not my specialty whatsoever. But I think you can worry about organic or not organic once you are eating grains. Because I think first you have to, it's almost like adding on top. So at the moment, if you're not consuming enough grains, your first goal is to get enough. And then when you're getting enough grains, then you get to choose organic because organic is always better, right? It has less chemicals and it's better for you at the end of the day. But I think that's, yeah. Any other question?
I think I'll just respond to that question. You say when you go to the supermarkets, you see sometimes say this is organic, it's most of them are marketing strategies. But the advice I can give is any food that is not processed is much more healthy. Yeah, that's what I can say for that. Thank you.
And how you know a food is processed is when you look back at the label, how many ingredients does it make it? Because when you get an apple, it's just an apple, right? When you get tomato, it's just tomatoes. But if you get a processed food, you have like a long list of ingredients that makes it. And so a rule of thumb for me is if a product has more than 5 things in it, then it's probably not good for you, right? And so you want the lesser there is in a food, the better it is, yeah? And so, but if you can just eat things like they come as a whole, apples and bananas and tomatoes and any greens, they are just one ingredient, that's your best bet. I think you had a question.
I don't really have a question. It's more a comment. I appreciate, the presentation you've done and even mentioning like what it can feel like if you've got low vitamin D and all those. But a lot of the times, like we tend to go to the doctor when something is wrong. If you have like your family doctor, just book an appointment with them, get your blood test, and that can tell you how your vitamin D levels are going, and so you can understand your holistic health, and then start, the process to, make sure your vitamin D levels rise up by, eating the right foods, being out in the sun, even taking supplements. But have a really close relationship with your doctor. Your doctor is a very important person in your overall health and how you function.
I really agree with that. Because if you don't know your overall health, it doesn't really help until you eat because you don't know what to tackle, right? So if you know you're low in vitamin D, then you know you need to eat food that are higher on vitamin D. If you're low on vitamin B, then you know that what kind of food you need to eat. So it is really important to have checkup on a yearly checkup for those who are young, maybe more than that if you're a little older. So yeah.
Thank you for a beautiful presentation. Generally, if I speak, I can say beauty comes from food. Without food, we are finished. My question is like this. Apart from the processing food, if you compare the food from Australia, there are plenty, but completely tasteless. If you compare with the food in our origin country, Africa, it's very nice. What brought that kind of differences? What makes that kind of differences?
Let me try to answer that, and then you'll. Yeah. So he was saying that if you buy chicken from here, and then you get a chicken from maybe South Sudan or Uganda, they taste different. The other one tastes better, and this one tastes a little bit. So that is to do with also the time the food takes to grow. So the longer the food takes to grow, the more it matures and becomes sweeter. So if you use a lot of fertilizers to grow certain type of fruit, even here, when you compare the pineapple here, you compare it with those back home, you see clear difference. It's because it's grown in a very controlled environment, and plants are like us. They have feelings. They need room to breathe. Also, they don't need to be pressured to grow. So the shorter time you give for something to mature, the lesser it is. They say the patience pays. And that applies across. So that's what I can say if you have something to.
Yeah, and I think I agree with that because a lot of the time when you get an apple from, sorry, my nose is blocked. But with food, so what happened is that we get them because we want to get them fresh to the supermarket. They take them out before they're done. And so they kind of finish the process on the way. And so it doesn't actually receive the nutrition that it needs or from the ground to be able to mature, like you're saying. But a lot of the time it's because they will get, let's say, papaya, right? It's still green. It's not orange or it's not yellow yet. They'll get it, and then by the time it gets to supermarket, it's yellow because they don't want it to be damaged, right? And so I think that also really contributes to the flavor of like how well it tastes. But that also means that the nutrition it's not nutritious as it would be back home because it had time to mature as well. Does that answer your question?
Okay. Sorry for asking all these questions. I think it just shows the interest that we have in the topic that you're presenting. I think listening to what we were doing before, it sounded like everyone here have similar food in the house. Talk about Iza, to talk about Osobi, Marangba. You did mention that our parents, or what our parents eat, determines or are 3 indicators of what our health will be. As a child in the house, how would you empower me, or what strategy do you have for me to talk to my parents about maybe changing the diet a little bit considering the fact that our parents might have grown up in a society where this is what they know? Thank you.
Good question. Okay. So, no, that's okay. I don't know about strategies, but I'll tell you this, right? I became a vegetarian when I was leaving my mom and my dad, and then they just kind of put up with it. So I think that if you know, because I think if something is good, yeah, your parents will not knock it out. So they might knock it out for the first few, whatever. But if you're persistent, your parents will let you have it because it's good for you. They can see the difference. And I think with anything that you're learning new, people might not understand it, and it's okay. But if you know your why, I think you have to keep doing it, and then eventually they will see how important it is. Now, my mom and I can talk about, hey, maybe we should not eat that much meat. Hey, maybe we should cook a bit more of this. And so our whole house is sort of transformed into eating a little bit more healthier because me and my sister just started being vegetarian and we decided we might not eat meat, right? So I think maybe just starting, but knowing your why, and your parents might just catch up with you because, yeah, they will learn.
Can you hear me? Yeah, I'm not asking question or anything. I'm just helping out, adding on to your question as a parent. So as Holla had said before, sometimes when children are very young, anything you cook in the house, as long as it goes on the table, it will get eaten. But teenagers, either someone can cook something of their choice, wanted to eat specific food, not knowing whether that's healthy or not, but it's what they want. If they want to fry chicken nuggets, that's fine, but what does chicken nuggets have in it without any other nutrition? So as a parent, the strategies I've got in my house, I'm a gardener, I love gardening, despite nursing. So instead of cooking big meal of osobi today and a little bit of meat, 2 meals, maybe I'll cook 3, 4 things, but I make sure I pick up 2 spinach, I cook a little bit of osobi, a little bit of meat, maybe salad. 3, 4, 5 things can sit on the table, but can everyone make sure you pick a little bit of something from this table? Eat a lot of what you got for your choice, but make sure you touch anything that's on this table. Let's try and see how we go today. So that becomes like a routine. They know that anything that goes on the table, even if you don't like it, please test it. A little bit will do, and that will be definitely helpful to them without understanding why my parents is doing this. Thank you.
All right, one last question. You said there was...
I actually have a question.
Oh, yeah?
Yep. Just so we can wrap it up a little bit and so that it's something that I think the youth can access. Is there any resources that you would recommend about nutrition that will be good for youth to see and look at?
Resources? I think we have our council. So the Australian Health Council actually has a lot of writing on what's a really good diet. And again, it's encouraging everyone because obviously we have a very obese country in Australia. And so they are writing there. There's a lot of writings on the website about eating healthy. They're encouraging everyone to eat healthy and to have a healthy diet. So you can just honestly, Google is your best friend, and finding the government website is also, the national website is also a really good help. But honestly, YouTube, if you said health, like you Google healthy diet or how to start, it's there. We have we live in we live in the age of information. So information is readily available. What matters is whether you want to know, right? The desire. And so if you do want to know, you can also come talk to me because, I can direct you and I can find you something and we can talk about it. And if you want to change, I'm happy to help because, yeah. But yeah.
Thank you.
And I think that's all for me.
Yep, thank you so much. Can we all give a round of applause?
Thank you so much, Holla. It's always great to hear from, people who know what they're talking about, and Holla obviously does. So yeah, and just the importance of understanding how food influences so much of our life. Next up, we have Simon, and he'll be doing a presentation on sexual health, promotion, and empowerment. I'll just read a little bit of his background. So Simon is accredited sexologist and health promotion practitioner who is truly passionate about SHRR. His goal is to create awareness and empowerment in our community, to our community members through understanding and addressing various factors that influence sexual health and reproductive rights, like social norms, culture, politics, environment, and biology. Simon believes that having open and honest discussions on topics such as consent and law, sexual diversity, puberty, STIs, and BBVs can equip us with the knowledge and skills we need to maintain and promote sexual and reproductive wellness among us. It's about understanding these issues and making sure that everyone can access the support and information they need. Join Simon today in informing us on the journey of working towards building healthier and more informed communities. Thank you, Simon.
Thank you very much. And thank you, everyone. And I like my back for some reason, so don't mind my back. I just carry along. Maybe I have some dollars there. So my name is Simon, and today we'll be talking about sexual health and reproductive rights. This is going to be a very challenging topic for me to talk about because of the demographics that we got today. Usually I'll have a very specific demographics that I talk to topic about. But let's see how we go. If there's anything, stop me. If there's anything, please don't throw a bottle on me, but just raise your hands up and ask me a question. So my name is Simon, and what I do for work, as introduced before, is that I go to schools and I also go to community and talk about a lot of things. In this case, I talk about growth, what happens when somebody's growing up, what body changes they experience, and how they might feel, and what they need to do to actually make sure that it's not a bad thing, it's a good thing that we have these changes. But more importantly, also speak a little to a bigger group. I normally speak about what reproductive health and the law says, particularly in a country like Australia, where there's a lot of tight regulations around what not and what should be done. So today we'll be talking about that. And so I will welcome everybody to the Madi 101 conference. This 101, I'm going to be touching basics on everything, and what I want, how this whole thing runs to be based on asking me questions, if that's okay. Ask me questions of anything you want to know. But before we go to that, I would probably move ahead to setting us a ground rules. I have introduced myself, so that's great. As we're talking about as we're talking about something really, really sensitive and personal, and that it's very controversial, to make sure that we all have that safety net for this discussion, is it all right if we set some ground rules on how we're going to be operating today? And if so, can someone tell me how this discussion should go, please? Anybody has any ideas on how the discussion should go? What and what not to make sure that we all feel comfortable?
I think because of the age group that we have here, probably we should be very careful of the simplicity of the language that we'll be using. So probably we can listen to what you're saying. I think maybe then the question can come last. I think you can continue to do that, and obviously raising your hand when you have something to say. But we have to be very mindful of the demography of the age group we have.
Thanks for flagging that with me. Thank you. All right, so wedding and just be mindful. Any ground rules for us to operate on this today? how should we want to operate here? Is it supposed to be respectful when we're talking to each other? Good, there's some hand there. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. I think in this room, as much as we talk about the age, but almost everybody is at that age whereby they can explore some of these things. So when we talk about it, we have to be very frank with each other. And as you said before, this is a very controversial topic, and some parents will turn heads when you ask these questions, and they may not want to talk about it. But I think it's something that needs to be talked about. Because if we don't, then they're going to go out there. How will they learn? And the things that we may want them to learn, we're not teaching them because we are afraid to talk about it. So we have to be very frank with them, and they have to be frank with us as well, because this is where they learn.
All right, great. Thank you for that. So honest discussions about our health. Thank you.
As a mother, I'm also saying it's a very sensitive topic. And the way we talk about sexuality in Madi culture is different to what we do in Western world. In reality, if this was back home, we could say, okay, let's talk general about this topic a little bit. The boys could move with the fathers and talk about and ask questions. And then the mothers can certainly sit, it's like a group discussion, so they can ask questions, because we don't used to ask open question, like sit together to discuss this kind of topic.
That's correct.
Taking in reality of where we are, I know this topic is usually started in year 6. I've stopped some of my children from attending it in year 6 because I know that age is young, but when they get to high school, I sign the permission for them to attend. I'm sure what we will be talking about today, if not most of them, anyone in this house knows about it. We have to be real, and let's talk about it and ask the question.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. So having discussion. As for me, just coming here, as I said, today, youth will lead the discussion. I will respond to the questions. And I have a few things I will also say, based on the demographics that we have. So I'm very mindful. Thank you for that.
Okay, thank you. I will ask you for checks in Australia or in Madi checks.
So we are really talking about sexual health and reproductive rights. So we're not talking about sex as in sex. Thank you.
Checks in Australia can study with the kissing. What about Madi is for Madi is different.
Yeah, correct.
Madi can start talking long, is going to ask you for love.
Okay. Thank
That's
you. Thank you. Thank you very much for that comment. I appreciate it.
I think generally you are a professional, and I'm sure you're aware of ethical stuff that you gotta be mindful of. And
Very
I think
correct.
when you are presenting it, just make use of your ethical standard for your profession. And that should be, I think, the way to go. And then for us, obviously, you know, there will be implications, legal. If something goes out, one young person goes to school, oh yeah, we've been talking about this. Who was with you?
I totally agree with you. Thank you for that. Ethics obviously is what we do in everything that we do, so we can't practice without our ethics in. So thanks, I appreciate that for the reminder. One second here.
Sorry, I think we are really dealing with the topic, but I just want to let us all know that we need to understand where we are currently. We are in Australia, and as one person said that what you fail to teach at home will be taught to somebody somewhere else. So it's your responsibility to have an open discussion with your children about sexual health, and also about how to have respectful practices, respecting other people's opinions, and Those are the things we want to talk about, like empowering girl child, empowering boy child. When they say no, what does no mean? What is this? If you start these things early, what will happen? Those are the things that he's going to talk about. You're going to get maybe cervical cancer, you're going to get STDs like gonorrhea, chlamydia. These are the things we are going to discuss about, not how you think that we are going to perform it. No, that's not really important. So I think people shouldn't be worried about that. That's what I can say. Maybe I got it wrong.
No, thank you very much. I appreciate that. You definitely clarified it very clearly. And I think, like you said, ethics applies. So in what we do, as I said, the first discussion I had was, I understand the demographics here. Usually, how I go to work is that I get requested by community members, could be school, and they'll tell us what year we go to, what age group we're going to present to, and then we will recommend what topics those are. But considering these demographics, I want you to feel safe. I will try my best. I will try my best to make sure that discussion is inclusive of all of us. Don't get any carried away. Mom says sex in Africa and sex here. We're not talking about that. We're talking about how to keep ourselves safe and how to stay away from prisons, particularly because that is one big thing that I want us to talk about. But growing up is something that I just want to have. So, Mom, sorry, you have some. Where's the mic? Someone has a mic?
Yeah, me also, I just like to add a bit what our sister here said. When we talk of sex, it is very sensitive words. And again, when we talk of sexual health, which means there is something wrong, we need to give education about it. For instance, in 8 years, when HIV emerged in East Africa, particularly in Uganda, a place called Rakai, all parents are gone. Only they left the orphan kids. And then that promote the USA to bring a clinic to Uganda so that they can test. When you are going to get married, they have to test if you are negative or positive. It's very important. Otherwise, people don't talk of sexual things except in school when they are teaching biology to children. That's the way how children will start to know about sex or something like that. Otherwise, they leave that one to God. And if we are here, people are talking just frequently. Otherwise, sometimes it will promote, it will aware children that, oh, something like that. And also it will give them motivation instead of doing something. So that's, I don't know how you are going to talk about sexual science. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I really like what you said. I grew up in Uganda, and I quite study a little bit about what, for example, pulmonary viruses, including HIV and AIDS in Uganda, and what the impact has, particularly in the African continent, particularly in sub-Saharan African countries. And you're right. You know, if you go to Rakai right now, we have lost quite a big population there, but we were not going to there because we're in Australia. So let's stick to the topic here. But thanks for bringing that up. Yeah, something to say? I think it's important that we all get ourselves grounded before we move far away. So I just want those words to come out first. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. I think we are pushing time's going too far. We got still a lot to do. The topic says sexual what?
Sexual health and reproductive rights.
Health. So it is not about the action. The topic is not about the action. It is about how safe we are going to be. When you are driving on the road, you see a speed camera on the road, and then they will alert you. When you go there, you speed, and then you get caught. You will get a fine. So I think this topic is all about safety. It's all about safety, but it is not about what we are going to discuss here. You go and do it. We want to stop you from doing it. We want to be safe. Okay? So we don't need to pull rope here and there, but what we need to do is the safety for our young people.
Right.
Okay?
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you very much. That's how I understand, but
Beautifully.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, everyone. I think we'll start with the topic now that we have created some awareness around what we are and how we're going to be operating. However, from my end, I have some standard basic rules that normally I would give to every community or every other place that I go to when I deliver this topic. As I said, it's a very controversial topic, and for that reason, I need to be a buffer to all of you, particularly in a community like this where there's uncles, aunties, and parents in the same house with the kids. But I think like I'll be the buffer in this case. So feel free to say whatever you have to say. It's what Simon says. Feel free to say what you said. It's Simon says. It's not what you said, all right? So if your parents go and tell you something, say, no, Simon says so, and blame me, not any of you. All right, thank you. All right, so usually what I started with is our ground rules are very basic. It's just respect. We just have to respect each other. Like all of you have mentioned, I understand the demographics in this group. I'll try to be as ethically correct as possible, which is quite challenging when it comes to this topic because you can't be ethically correct, but I'll try my best to. The other thing is, it's okay. This topic is quite, could be quite triggering again. And if someone at any point feels unsafe, uncomfortable, and they get asked a question or activity and they were not happy to respond to it, it's okay. All right? Don't feel like you're under pressure. It's okay to let it go. And what I'll probably say to that is that if I say anything today that triggers anything in you and you feel you need to talk to somebody about it, please, I'll be around and please talk to me about it. Towards the end of the presentation, I have some services or where you can get help from. So thanks. No put down, so we're gonna have different opinions. Please, let's be mindful and respectful. Don't say, hey, no, it's good to have this discussion. Let's just have this discussion. Any question is welcome. I'm gonna take every question as much as I could, but unfortunately, I'm not gonna answer personal questions. So if you ask me some personal questions, probably I won't answer that. But any other question to do with awareness around sexual health and reproductive rights, I will try my best to answer that. Privacy and confidentiality. So if somebody says something here, please, let's try to keep it in this house. We all know each other, and just let's be mindful that if words can travel very fast, and we do not want to create any kind of locomotion within our community. So let's just be very mindful that what stays here, stays here. Again, the golden rule is Simon says. Speak for yourself. I like the fact that we come from different backgrounds and we have had different opinions of what people say, which is great. But again, I'm going to be very sensitive. I'm going to use men and women here because in other communities and other settings, I'll use the LGBTQIA+. I'll also include that in my introductions, but here I'm going to leave that. So, but just I want you to know that if anybody has a friend or that identified within that, I'm quite aware of that. But in this, for this setting, I'm going to be men and women or boy and girl. Thanks. It's okay to have fun. Here, what I want is, we are here to have fun, at the same time to learn. So please don't feel shy away. As I said, it's something that we need to talk and we need to have fun here. Unfortunately, this is not a therapy session, so I won't be able to deal with any triggers that this might bring up. But what I would really recommend is that please, if any of these things bring anything up, please come talk to me because I will know people. I know people that will help you out. Yeah, apart from that, those are my golden rules, and with your golden rules, let's move forward. All right. All right, really the basic objectives of this presentation today is, like people say, it's not to teach people anything about any other thing, but rather to create awareness around sexual health and reproductive rights, and that includes how to be saved, and if you feel somehow that you might need to go to see a GP or a doctor, particularly around sexual and reproductive rights, where you need to go to in all the various states. I am here to just facilitate an open discussion. Most of the opinions will come from you, and I'm happy that actually one of the beauty about this is that we have a different demographics, that we have young ones, we have old ones. Someone already mentioned something in Africa, some people mentioned things in Australia, so that discussion will actually be, I hope, amazing because we can facilitate all these different views. Unfortunately, I would only give you what is evidence informed. I won't be able to spread anything. If I don't know an answer, I'll probably not say anything. I will not respond to that. I will be honest and say I don't know. But I also hope that towards the end of these presentations, we'll be able to we'll improve our help-seeking behaviors. What I really want is our in our tradition, what happens is unless we get sick, we don't go to see a doctor. That is what I hope this presentation will change. That sometimes it's just good to just go and have a chat to your doctor. When you look at Japan, for example, Japan has the longest life expectancy because apparently you can just walk to a doctor and have a chat, even though you're not sick. That's what we want to encourage here, and I hope this session will help that do that too. Generally, what really is very important to me is to create knowledge around sexual health and reproductive well-being for all of us. One thing is that for sure, those are my hopes that I hope we'll get through. But if we can get one today, I'll be happy. Thank you. All right, so just a bit of statistics. Why I think it's very important that we talk about this. All right, so around the world, as we speak right now, over 1 million people are infected with STIs daily. Over 1 million are infected with STIs daily. That includes chlamydia, gonorrhea, syphilis, and all that. But more importantly, this is something that people really forget about. Hepatitis B or hepatitis C. A lot of people don't talk about that. The number is staggering, even here in Australia. That's why part of that is sexual health and reproductive rights. And hepatitis B unfortunately affects your liver, and it gets to a point where if it's not treated early or managed early, unfortunately will get us to a situation where we do not want to. But just some very specific, again, statistics in Australia. I'm happy that we mentioned about us being in Australia. So about 16% of Australians at one point in their life will be diagnosed with STIs or bloodborne virus. So that's a huge number. That means in this room, some of us might have had at least being diagnosed with an STI. And which is a good thing, because we're happy about the one that we know about. What we're worried about, the one that we do not know. And that's why we want to create this awareness to make sure that we all come and get tested. And if we do get tested, get at least treated or managed at least. We are in a very lucky country, like a lot of people say, when it comes to medications. Most of STIs or most of the bloodborne viruses are treatable or manageable at least. And then some of the most really common STIs in Australia is at the moment chlamydia for people between the age of 19 to 24. Chlamydia is really quite prevalent among this age group. The problem with like any other STIs is that it leads to secondary health condition. So if you don't get it treated, it leads to a second health condition, particularly syphilis, which is really at the moment at a rise in Australia. So across Australia, currently I work in NT. We saw quite as much of a lot of syphilis around the Central Desert, South Australia, into WA, and it's actually an epidemic that we are trying to tackle at the moment. And the thing with syphilis is that sometimes we do not know any signs at all, or it doesn't show any signs at all. So you might have some basic, rashes within the past maybe 3 months. After that, it disappears completely. But the thing is, if you don't get it treated, in future, if you want to get, let's say, have babies, unfortunately, we won't be able to have babies. And that's why it's good to treat or get tested and get treated. The most important thing about this is that most of these ACS are treatable, are curable. It's only that we don't get early to get treated. We don't detect them early. And that's why we're here today talking about this. But I want to move the discussion away from that. All right, just a little bit about what we've discussed about the views. In your opinions, what do you actually think when we talk about sexual health and reproductive rights? This time around, we did hear a little bit from the elders. I want the young ones to tell me what they think about when we talk about sexual health and reproductive rights. Anybody? Particularly the youth? What comes to your mind when somebody says anything to you that sexual health and reproductive rights? I mean, at the beginning, I had a lot from the elders, but I want from the young people. What comes to your mind? Anybody? There's no right or wrong answer. We are just having a chat. We are having a fun. Yeah? Thank you.
Hello. I want to participate as well, not just photograph and be behind the camera. But what does sexual health and reproductive rights mean? In my opinion, well, the ability to be able to have kids, healthy kids, and with that as well, passing on the knowledge. And of course, your genetics are passed to your kids as well, so passing healthy genetics to your kids.
I love that. You not just think about having kids, but you also think about having healthy kids. Fantastic. Anybody? That's okay. I know, oh, there's a hands up there.
Thank you. To me personally, because we have started the introduction with some of those diseases, so to me, sexual health is just learning about good ways of how to prevent some of those diseases, or maybe we'll be talking about how to maintain ourselves, or maybe ways of preventing or not getting those kind of diseases for our health.
Thank you. All right. Any young ones? Okay. So what really sexual health and reproductive rights means, it's almost everything and more. So we talk about social justice, for example. We talk about human rights. We did talk about, of course, for a lot of people here, we also talk about that. But what I really are very much aware or want us to talk about today is something to do with consent. We talk about comprehensive sexuality education. That's what we tend to do, which I cannot do within this time because it's a quite massive topic to cover within the shortest time possible. But I would just mention a few of those things. We also talk about policies and the laws. We also talk domestic family and domestic violence. We talk about age. We talk about growth, which is poverty. We talk about access to healthcare. We talk about gender equity. Those are everything to do with sexual health. So it's like what someone said, it's not the act of doing what we think sexual health means. We talk about everything that encompasses us. We talk about girl-child education. We talk about gender equity in a way that we empower our society. The component of empowering society is not just talking about my mental health. Like, for example, someone mentioned what the one is to grow up and have babies, but have healthy babies. But if, let's say, for example, someone has an STI and it's not treated and they're unable to have a child, the chances they're going to have some sort of mental health issues. So all these things are interlinked. So when we talk about sexual health, we're talking about everything from respect to love. So one of the things today we're going to be talking about is respectful relationships, for example, which was mentioned before. How do we maintain respectful relationships? One of the most common things that I hear from elders when I have these kind of discussions, particularly in remote communities, is that a lot of elders complaining, our young ones don't respect us. Our young ones don't listen to us. We used not to be like this. What is happening? What is changing? Why do we think our young ones are not listening to us, respecting us the way we should? We used to respect our elders. Yeah? So that is what we're talking about. But for me, what's very important in respectful relationships, understanding what actually respectful relationships mean. It means that you are being respected as a person, regardless whether you're a girl or a woman, a girl or a woman, a man or a boy. Yeah? If you're respected in that capacity, you're being listened to. You're being cherished for the simple things that you do. We do have a tendency, our parents have a tendency of praising our young ones when they succeeded exceptionally. Like, for example, they've graduated. They're like, oh, my son is doing well, or my daughter is doing well. How about your daughter waking up in the morning, or your son waking up in the morning and going to school? How many people say thank you to that? How about your mom waking up in the morning, or your dad waking up in the morning going to work? How many of you say thank you, Dad, and thank you, Mom, for going to work? That is part of respectful relationship, acknowledging every single effort that we put through to make a family function. But very importantly, it's also building that trust among ourselves to know that if something goes wrong, or if we feel unsafe, we can come to our parents and talk to our parents about it. But more importantly, it's also building that groundwork among parents to be able to say, look, I am here for you if you need to talk to me. Having a holistic approach, it's what it is. It's not a one-way thing. It's not like children have to do this and parents have to do this. We all have to play our part to be able to have that respectful relationship. It's what it is. But what I will probably do is the working definition for sexual health is a state of physical, emotional, mental, and social well-being related to sexuality. It's not, this is where I want us to get really right, it's not the absence or the presence of a disease or an illness. All right? So it's everything that happens, economy, the social justice, everything that we mentioned about, that's what it is. But none of that will ever work if we still are forced or coerced to doing things. Nothing of that will work if there's still violent existing among us. None of that will work if we don't get respected or if we're not protected and it's not fulfilled. Our rights need to be respected, our rights need to be protected, and everything need to be fulfilled for us to be able to achieve sexual health and reproductive well-being. That's according to the working functions of a World Health Organization. Okay. So I will probably ask this consent. Can someone tell me what consent really means? As I said, that's my biggest topic of discussion today, probably. Anybody want to tell me what consent means? Any idea? Okay.
Consent to me would be making sure that everyone feels safe and being open and creating an environment where, you can speak your mind and you make sure you're comfortable.
Thank you very much.
To me, I think consent means once you're with someone like in agreement, or there's permission given for any act or activity or something. So there's permission and there's agreement between both parties.
Thank you very much.
I think consent doesn't mean changing somebody's mind. If somebody says no, that doesn't mean that you go and try again to change their mind to yes. So if it's a no, it's a no, and if it's a yes, it's a yes. It's full stop.
Beautiful. What you just said there is coercion, which I did not include there, but that is called coercion. So you don't coerce people to having consent, correct? Anybody?
It also could be you giving permission to someone to talk on your behalf or take any information about you. You're giving them that right to do it.
Right. Beautiful. So how do we know consent has been given?
I think consent is quite a broad topic. It's basically it's an agreement, but for an agreement to happen, the person who is agreeing should be able to understand what they are agreeing to. So if you take, for example, somebody to the GP to see a GP and maybe has disability, that person cannot consent because he is not intellectually capable of providing consent. So consent basically it's giving permission, but it should be for somebody who understands the consequences of the consent and the pros and cons. Thank you.
Thank you very much, everyone. That's really well said. So consent is basically like everyone, all of you, whatever you said is correct. So let's say, for example, can I borrow your phone, please? Oh, you're very kind. Can I throw on the floor? Okay, why not? All right, so I asked her for consent. She gave me the phone. She understood that she was going to give me the phone. But she didn't know I was going to throw it on the floor, all right? But she gave me consent one way, but then I asked again, can I throw it on the floor? And she said no. And I respected that, gave it back to her, right? So really what that means is that consent has to be an informed consent. Informed means that you know what you're saying yes to or you're saying no to. You know what the person is talking about. And that's where sometimes I think a lot of actors get in trouble, because we would say, for example, for a young mop who goes to the club, you go to a nightclub, you find a friend of yours, and then you say, let's go home. Let's go watch a movie. All right? The person says, yes, you go home, watch a movie. But you go there and touch them inappropriately. That becomes, you've crossed the line already. That becomes sexual violence or active sexual harassment. All right? So that is where a lot of us get into trouble. So if you're consenting something, if you're asking somebody for consent, please make sure that the person knows what they're consenting to. Make it clear for them to understand that this is what you're asking out of them and this is what you want out of them. And also, please, when you start to say, for example, hi, sir, can I push this away? No? Why not? You see? No, he said no, but I'm saying, why not? That I've crossed the line again because I'm coercing him or I'm trying to make him change his mind based on what I want, not what he wants. So that again is already crossed. It's no. So that when you talk about sexual harassment, that all comes around that setting where somebody makes a choice, make a decision, and then you also say something else. So please, if we are going to be giving consent, we just have to be really very mindful. I recently was talking to someone who was going through the court system, and they called me. They're like, Simon, I cannot believe what happened to me. I'm like, okay, what happened? Because like my wife was dressed, put on a dress, and I said, no, don't put that dress on. Because like, okay, and then what happened? Because like, she said no. I'm like, what happened? Because I forced her to, to change the dress. And so because of that, he's being charged for manipulation, which is sexual harassment actually, for manipulating his wife's decisions of something that she wanted to do, but he said no, don't do it. Which can work good ways. In our case, it's okay because in our culture, we can be told something like that, it's okay, but in Australian law, it's a crime. It's a crime. We have sometimes some people who go to a nightclub and give someone a drink. They drink. After drinking, they want to ask them out for a night out. We can't do that because you cannot. Somebody who is forced to, who is drugged or drunk, cannot give consent. One of the things, a lot of when I do this presentation, particularly within the African community, in schools in Perth, the question that I get asked a lot is, what if we go to a nightclub and we're all drunk? We're all drunk, all right? So the golden rule is, if you're all drunk, just don't do it. Do not do it. Because a lot of our African mob are in prison right now because of just that. They go to a nightclub, we get people, they're all drunk, they end up in somewhere, and then the following morning, they're accused of something. And for them, they're innocent. But in essence, the law will say they're not innocent because the person at that moment cannot give consent, or at least didn't have an informed decision to give consent. But moving on to that, some of the things that really, and if consent is not given, it's an act of rape, according to the law. Or if consent is manipulated, coerced, forced, it's just an act of rape. Some things that we, that I think I should mention quickly is the options of contraception, for example. There's a lot of, we're very lucky here that there's a lot of options of contraceptions that a lot of our sisters and mothers can access, or even us men can access. But what happened is if, let's say, for example, your partner decided that, or maybe even a mother or a parent said, my daughter has to have, a contraception, that's okay, because it's a mother to a child, that's okay. But what happens is a partner, like say you have a partner and you're telling your, let's say, wife to say, you must have contraception, and if they say no, but you said have it because I'm ready for babies, you're actually crossing the line. So again, we might get in trouble for that. The other thing that I really want us to mention quickly is pregnancy. So the golden rule is that if someone is pregnant, as a man, you actually don't have any rights over their body. If you say, let's abort the baby, or let's get away the baby, it's like, okay. She can say no completely. But when she gives birth to a child, that's when you can have a right to a child. When it's a pregnancy, you don't have a right. So if you keep pushing to say, get abortion, she can actually legally take you to court and say, you're causing her to. But for me, what's really very important is image-based abuse. And this is particular for the young ones. Online, for those on social media, TikTok, Facebook, and everything. I think we need to find a way of being saved, and some ways of being saved on these lines is just to make sure that we trust our parents. We talked about respectful relationship before. If our parents can be open-minded and also, say this with the parent and with the young one to say, look, it's okay to talk to, look through my Facebook, set some parental guidelines. The Australian Safety Commission, Online Safety Commission, has really good resource for people that they can really access. And so it will be good really if you can follow those instructions. Normally there's safety settings and all that. And if we can avoid some of these things, we can avoid family, domestic, and sexual violence in our family, and we can live a happy family. We can be a happy community as well. And sexual violence is everything that we talked about and more. Okay. I'll probably skip this one. Yeah. So what I'll do is, so these are some resources for young mob who want to access anything sexual health and reproductive rights related. Could be an STI testing, bloodborne virus. So you can come from. So this is a national service that we all fund, and you can call it 24/7 to ask anything. How to talk to your child about growing up. Maybe you're growing up and you're getting confused of what is happening. You can call them. They're really good. If you get assaulted, sexually assaulted, they're really a good resource to tap to. Or really very importantly is if someone is in immediate danger, please call 000. They would normally. One of the things that I would always mention here is that if, let's say for example, someone has been unfortunately assaulted, it's really good to preserve evidence, because at the end of the day we want justice for the victim survivor. So please, if you're a parent or even for those who work within a medical setting, somebody comes and alleges something, please try to preserve as much evidence as possible, because that's what the police would rely on to get justice for this victim survivor. Otherwise, unfortunately, the perpetrator would just get away with what they've done. Sexual Headquarters in Perth is an amazing organization, and then throughout the other states as well. So please take advantage of these services. They're funded by the government. Most of the things we get here are completely free. They're very well-trained human beings. They're amazing human beings. I have friends almost that works everywhere in these places, so they'll be able to help you out if you have anything to do with any concern to do with sexual and reproductive rights. Thank you. And again, these are more of therapy-based, basically, for people that really, more of therapy for people that experience sexual assault. The other one's more of STIs and just general sexual health, but these are more therapeutic kind of, in all the states as well. It's really good to take advantage of it. Again, all the time, it's free, most of the time at least. In summary, I just hope that this discussion is not the way I wanted it, but I just hope that when we talk about these things, we hope that we are aware that when we talk about sexual health and reproductive rights, we're not just talking about the absence of diseases. We talk about every other thing. cultural, social equity. We talk about social justice. We talk about economic development, cultural empowerment. We talk about all those things. We hope that we also we had some informed discussions and knowledge about what we have done. I hope that with the resources that we provide, there's also reliable information that how we can access some of these services. And just very importantly, any of the other things that we talk about, sexual violence is a crime, and we can be penalized for that. And we have to stay away. At least consent is the key way to stay away. And yeah. I think this is the time that I've really been waiting for, because I really feel like I shouldn't be talking so much, but I feel I should rush that. Any question in particular, anything that we want, I'm more than happy with any question now from our elders, our young ones, how things were in Africa, how are things here, about sexual and reproductive rights. I'm more than happy to answer. Okay, thank you, sir.
I know you spoke about coercive control, coercive somebody to give consent. Can you talk a little bit more of that? What are the signs of coercive, somebody will feel like they're being coerced?
Thank you very much. So, how could I use an example? Okay, so coercive, basically what that means is that, let's say for example, I come to you and maybe ask you for something, and you said no to me. All right, you said no. Or the first answer is no. And then I want to find an answer from you again. For example, I ask you, why do you have to say no? All right? Once I step to that line, I'm coercing you because you've already made your mind. You say you do not want something. Let's say, for example, I'm saying, let's say I come to you tonight and say, oh, I've never been to Melbourne. Can we go to a Melbourne nightclub tonight? All right? And then you say, oh, no, I don't want to go to a nightclub tonight. And I'll be like, why? That in law, you can give me the explanation, for example, oh no, I'm busy. That's okay. But the other thing is, with most of these sexual violent things or harassment and all that, it's not what you say, it's how the person feels. Let's say, for example, I come close to this gentleman. I'm just walking past, right? Mistakenly bounce on him. He can actually take that and say, look, I'm sorry. Oh, sorry, my friend bouncing into you anyway. I can say that, I can say I'm sorry, and he will be okay with that. But he might take it the wrong way. I'll give you an example. One gentleman in Perth got in trouble because he was at work, and the colleague they were all at work with the colleague. So the colleague was coming from outside, and he was leaving the room. But as they met on the door side, the colleague's a male colleague. The one coming inside is a female. And this particular gentleman said, oh, you look shiny today. You look shiny today. Is it a bad thing to say? Not a bad thing, isn't it? He meant it from a good heart, but the other person took it as a sexual harassment because it happens at work. And we also know that about 70% of harassment happens at work. And sometimes up to 75% happens at work. So in this case, he is actually guilty. It's not what he said, it's how the other person felt. So when you say something or do something that makes somebody uncomfortable in terms of their sexuality, according to the law, you're across the line there. Does that answer your question, sir? Is there any follow-up question? I'm more than happy to take a follow-up question. Yeah?
Thank you for giving me this opportunity also. Like you said, sexual health promotion. That is more or less sexual health education. And apart from that, what is your advice to the youth?
I think really my advice to the youth would be that sometimes, one, always go to your health check. Get your health check. It's my number one thing, regardless. My doctor thinks I'm paranoid because every 3 months I go and get a full sweep health check. All right? Let's get our health checks. That could be for an STIs, for an HIV, for bloodborne viruses. Get your health checks. That's advice number one. Advice number two, we should really be mindful when we act under the influence of alcohol, particularly in the nightclubs. I guess, again, we can easily cross the line and be accused of something that we have not done or we did not intend to do, and we might get in trouble for that, and that would ruin our life. But secondly, it's always it's good to talk to our elders, Talk to your elders. These mob are source of wisdom. They are moving dictionaries. So let's have a chat with them sometimes. Let's not distance ourselves away from them. Sometimes they might have this strong accent and they talk to you about Africa, and you'll be like, I'm not going back to Africa anyway. Why should I talk to them? But what they're trying to do is just build that relationships of what they know. And that's a good time to tell them what you actually know here, what's happening in Australia too. If they talk to you about Africa, that's good. Listen to them and say, well, you know what, Dad or Auntie, guess what? This is what's happening in Australia. That's how we learn. So if there's one advice I will give, that will be it. That we need to learn from each other. They have a vast knowledge of what happens in Africa. He mentioned about Rokaya before. Not many people know that small, district in Uganda, or even where it is, but I know where it is. So people like you can ask questions. So how was HIV back in the days? One of the things I always tell people is, for example, HIV back in the 90s, it's even till today, compared to how they discovered it here, it's completely different. Over there, they use scare tactics. This is how miserable you're going to be dying if you have HIV. Back in the days, if we do have somebody here, if I, for example, have HIV, probably none of you want to be close to me. That's how bad it was, scare tactics. But here, we don't do that because we know here, HIV is manageable. We now have injectables. Get one injection every 3 months, and you can live a more healthier life compared to another person. So completely different. So let's learn from each other. Let's interchange our knowledge. It's the advice I'll give the youth and perhaps the elders as well, please.
Thank you for giving me this chance. My name is Robert Ignacio. One of the things that is happening among the youth at the moment, I come to learn that a lot of youth got the sexual violence where a lot of our boys are going to jail because of sexual harassment. What advice can you give them?
Wow, that's a big one. I think one advice I will really give to them is that so I grew up in Africa, and in Africa, one of the things that I was taught when I was young was that if you go to a girl and if you like a girl, you see a girl you like her and ask her out, and she say yes straight away, that means she is not a good girl. She's a bad girl, all right? I was told that if you go to a girl, even if the girl likes you, the girl say no initially, and I have to keep insisting. Say, I like you, I like you, I like you, and keep following that. In Africa, it works well. Here, it goes to the sexual coercion that I was talking about. So you're coercing somebody to liking you. So you get in trouble and penalized for that. So one of the things I'll probably say is that here, if someone says no, respect it. No, respect. There's no small no, there's no big no. Growing up, I was taught about small no, a big no. Here, there's nothing like that. Somebody says no, there's no. And the other thing, very important, is if you ask someone out for whatever it is, and they do not give you a affirmative yes, that means no. Don't assume. Let's say, for example, and the other thing is when you talk to somebody, and like, let's say, ask somebody out, and they're like, yes. According to the law, that's not a yes. A yes has to be yes. They know it. Because they might be scared that they just said a yes. Particularly people that have experienced trauma, we know very well that sometimes they're more happy to just say yes to avoid trouble or bigger trouble. They feel like they can just manage by saying yes. That's why a lot of people that have gone through some form of trauma, yes is the most common answer. So please respect any no. It's the only way you stay away from trouble.
I think we have one question.
Thank you for giving me this opportunity. My name is Anisia Ignacio. Marubaruni Daguay. Thank you for bringing this topic up because it's one of the very prohibited topics. We don't talk about it culturally. Culturally, we can't talk about it openly,
But here we are in Australia, we're struggling about that. Mine is you're talking about prevention. It's good that you bring consent. Most of our children, which I know, mostly some of them coming to me, because that with auntie open, talk to them about it, even though I know the culture is supposed not to. Most of our children, they don't give consent, they get sexual assaulted. A lot. If we don't want to talk about this, this is how we are losing our children. This is how we are getting in a garage, someone is hanging up, we say there is nothing happen. It is just because they can't talk to us about it. They are sexually assaulted out there. If they don't have evidence, as you say, they can't get any help. At home, they can't get any help as well. What do we do as community in this place? Can you advise, please? Thank you.
Wow. Thank you very much. And I think one of the best things that you said there is that at least some people feel comfortable to come and talk to you about it. That for me is the key bit of it. Not everyone will have the openness to come and have a discussion with anybody about what happens to them in their personal life. And for someone to be able to come into you and have a discussion, cherish that moment. And one of the advice I will ever give you is, or give anybody here is, I mean, we see young mob, they'll be really this amazing young person, and all of a sudden they changed. They either start to drink quite a lot, they either start to isolate quite a lot, they don't party or do the things that they used to do, or they become very rebellious actually. They just start to do some wild things that we never know them to do. What I will always say is, let's just build the relationships, the positive relationships between ourselves and our kids. When our kids feel safe to come and talk to us, that's a good way to getting to know what's happening. It saddens me that over 80% of sexual assault, or sexual assault, for example, around children, happens in homes. Over 92%, and I think the number is even higher, are done by people that are known to the family, which is really sickening. Because we expect, let's say for example, something happens to someone in their own home, in their own space. That's meant to be the only safe space in the world. It's your house. If something like that can happen in your own safe space, who else are you going to trust? Are you going to trust your mom? You're not going to trust your parents. Are you going to trust your siblings? No, because sometimes the people that do this are friends of our parents. They're introduced to us by our friends. And one of the things that I would say is, there's a culture that we do have, which is not a bad culture, it's a good culture, but it's a culture that we need to start thinking quite careful about. It's an uncle, auntie, whatever, that could be, will come to the house and will force our kids to hug them, even if they don't want to hug them. Go and hug so-and-so. That exposes these kids to grooming, that exposes these kids to sexual exploitation at a very young age. Because what happens is, you have introduced this person as either as an uncle, or as your best friend to the family, or as an auntie to the family. Now, if this something happens, because the other thing is, a lot of the perpetrators of sexual violence, we threaten the victims to say, so and so will not believe you. If you tell so and so, I'll probably cause more harm to you. That would kind of make it hard. For example, it makes it really hard to explain that to your parents, or report that to a family member, because it happens in a house by someone that's not your family, but somebody in power of authority, it could be whatever that is. So let's just keep the trust, and please monitor your kids' behavior. It doesn't sound maybe just because they're changing, they're bad kids. It could just be that they're just going through an enormous amount of things that you have no idea about. Build a relationship, they'll talk to you.
Okay, I think considering time, we might actually have to move it along a little bit.
Okay.
So we might have to cut the question short. Is that all right? Yep. So thank you very much.
One more question?
This is from MCA perspective, because everything that is being presented here, we have to collect that information and translate that information into service. And so it is important for us to ask some key questions. And one of the questions that I wanted to ask was, I remember recently, my deputy, Faith, managed to connect a podcast onto Facebook. And that was free service, because the whole purpose, because we don't have fund, at the moment, we don't have resources to be able to employ services of experts. So what we are going to rely on goodwill and those who are willing to support us. So now what's happening is that I just want to know whether if you are to give, say, a presentation to our young people, do you charge a fee for that? Now, I know it's because we're just trying to explore all available options of how we can provide services to our community. And that's why I'm asking that question. And then number two, in your service to the community, do you have any idea of what would be the prevalent rate within emerging communities like ours?
It's funny because thank you for those questions. So when Fed talked to me about this conference, one of the things I told Fed was that anything for the community, I'll do it out of completely free, as long as I know something like sexual health and reproductive rights is something that really affects us so deeply that a lot of us actually don't realize how much it's affecting us. And I took it a privilege to me that even though I just rushed it because I could spend one topic, for example, on talking consent for 3 hours. I could talk maybe about sexual exploitation for 1 hour, but I just rushed everything because I didn't have enough time. What I would say is I don't charge community. I do not charge community. It puzzles me because I worked in a lot of communities. I cannot provide this service. I mean, I charge them still, but my community is missing out. What's my service to my community? This, for me, is my service to my community. If we can gather together like this, from wherever we're coming from, to try to change their behavior, to try to improve our well-being, to try to learn from each other, that, for me, is more important than anything, more important than the money value. There's nothing more than community to me than the money value. Talking about services, one of the things really is that for us working in this field, we almost know each other. I know people in Melbourne, and I would really recommend strongly that if you need any service, please, 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 I cannot emphasize enough. The services the numbers that I put up there, those services, they're free. You can text, you can call them in your own bedroom. They're amazing human beings. They can help you out. And what I will also say is that, that would probably be it, I would say. The prevalence, okay. So one of the biggest challenges that we actually have within the multicultural groups is that these discussions are quite taboo. People are very scared of repercussions. If they do report something, what will happen to them? What will happen to the family? So within the multicultural communities, actually, there's not much data, and that's where the concern is for us. That's where the problem is. However, in Australia, generally, about 1 in 4 women identified to have experienced some form of sexual harassment or sexual violence in their life before the age of 18. After the age of 15. About 1 in 6 men also have experienced some sort of sexual violence. So those numbers are enormous compared to the fact that we have this small community of 26 million people in Australia. And the chances are it's happening more in our community than we could ever imagine because we don't talk about it. And for us, that's where the problem is. We're happy with the one number that we know. We're not happy with the number that we do not know because those people need help, but we can help them.
Just
thank you.
My name is Faustina Boka. Thank you very much for coming in the community as a young man and trying to put things forward of how the way we take our own responsibility. So the responsibility is to the young ones and the parents. And usually charity starts at home. Now, if a young, being a lady or a girl or a boy at a certain age, their body changes. And that relationship has to be created by the parents. If a girl, they have to be close to their mother. A boy has to be close to a dad. To have a bit of a discussion. And after that, the outside one will be obviously introduced in school. They will talk, but if we don't have that relationship, they won't understand what is the next one, which is at school. Because then the way they receive that one will be a kind of protection, and it will break that relationship between the parents. So for us to go forward, and then the outside one with the peer groups, how they are going to receive it. If there is no background here, that relationship is not there to understand what the concept is. So thank you. We need to be open. People like you, people, any kind of topics, awareness. This is creating awareness. This is not anything bad. We need to create awareness to the young people. Because as we already heard that consent is an issue, and especially when there is influence. It could be what we talk about. Maybe somebody is under influence, and then you take that opportunity. Some people use maybe, bribing. There are many ways. Today we get into trouble. And as a result, we need to keep talking about it. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. Yeah, because the thing is that there's a lot of factors. There's really so much factors. Our parents comes here and they really work so hard. Sometimes they have to do two jobs to keep us in our homes and provide us the basic food that we need to. And unfortunately, sometimes our kids lose out on that. Our kids lose out on the relationship that we're meant to have with them. Because building a relationship is not just being a father or being a mother or just being a child. It takes a little bit of connections to be able to have that relationship with the young ones. And we just need to keep doing that. We just need to improve on our relationships, because once you trust somebody, once you feel safe around someone, you can say anything with them. Let's say, for example, an uncle come and touch somebody improperly, they'll be able to run to you and say, look, so-and-so came and did this to me. And please, 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 whatever a child says, please do not dismiss it. The chances are it's happening. And the chances that it's been happening for a very long time before they actually approach and come to you. So please, if any child do come, you see a change in behavior, please don't blame your child. Get close to your child and get to know what's happening. They will tell you when they feel safe to tell you. And we have the responsibility to play that. And please, I also encourage our young ones, please, please, please. Our parents may seem very tough sometimes, might seem like they don't understand us. If we do feel anything unsafe, your parents always loved you. There's no way your parents loved you more than anything. So please make sure, find a way. If it's through your auntie, or through your teachers, through your friends, or you have to go to police, please report it. Don't allow it to happen. Whatever the person says, they're lying. They're coward. Okay? They're coward. That's why they're saying all these other things. So please, let's build the relationships. And thank you so much for your time, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Simon. Sexual health is a very important topic, and we're so grateful that you gave us such great insight on that one. We'll just have our lunch break now, and the aunties have prepared a lovely lunch for us, and then straight after we'll have a few more presentations, and then we'll be done. Thank you.
It's your boy Mix Album. Yeah, China boy, big fight, I'm a sing music to the world. Only mess with you to the way, yeah. Meta could have been mess with you to the way, yeah. Meta low, mess with you to the way, yeah. Menga tuba meta molly mess of way to the way. Menga tuba meta low, mess with you to the way. Galisa vo envi. Ayuka mania garu ideroni. Opare tuti pole se iye torumbi. Ayuka mania garu ideroni. Asika mania garu ideroni. Mania garu ideroni. Ayuka mania garu ideroni. Mania garu ideroni. Menga tuba metani mule. Masubari fuisa ruraye. Menga tuba metaloye. Masubari fuisa ruraye. Tony Badinzi P. Say Madi Badizarai. Sukuru Tony Badinzi P. Sokole Badizarai. Domengweni Madivaingo. Domengweni Madivaingo. Dometani Madivaingo. Matirika Dolaingo. Domengweni Madivaingo. Dometani Madivaingo. Domengweni Madivaingo. Matirika Dolaingo. Menga tuba meta molly me so voye torumbi. Basika madia garu ideroni. Menga tuba meta loe me swe iye torumbi. Basika madia garu ideroni. Agere tumu galisa vo envi. Basika madia garu ideroni. Opare tuti pole se iye torumbi. Ayuka madia garu ideroni. Basika madia garu ideroni. Madia garu ideroni. Ayuka madia garu ideroni. Madia garu ideroni. Kanani omba masika za kokwe. Masika za kokwe. Kanani omba masika za kokwe. Masika za kokwe. Tigbari iya ina nyidivude. Ina nyidivude. Tigbari iya ina nyidivude. Yeah, ina nyidivude. Dio kwa dia ina nyidivude. Yeah, ina nyidivude. Dio kwa dia ina nyidivude. Yeah, ina nyidivude. Bakari tande, anda kembe ase. Kembe ase, inde bakari tande. Bakari tande, ata kembe ase. Ata kembe ase, inde bakari tande.